Hello, this is John Perivale for Access Arts Live with this week's roundup of chamber music live streams. And boy, do we have a great lineup of chamber music live streams to tell you about today. This week we have melodrama as a format, as a musical spoken word video action format. This is a theatrical, which I love. We have classic string and piano quartets. We've got octets. We have early music offerings, including French decadence and Spanish dance music, and contemporary composers, traditional composers, and more. So I think it's going to be a great week. And you can see by all the photos that I have there, how many different offerings we have for you. And that doesn't even include all the different live streams that are going on this week. So I'd like to get right to it and get started with you. But before I do that, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching it on any of our other platforms, we ask you to subscribe or follow us and click the notification button on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn, if those are the platforms where you find this video or where you follow us. And having said that, let me then get on to the first of this week's live streams that I want to tell you about. There was one already today that you missed it. The St. Mary's Perivale had a lovely their Tuesday afternoon in London piano recital live stream. But let's move on to the future. Find my notes. Okay. Wednesday, April 30th, March Vivo live streams a unique musical theatrical piece by composer Cesar Camarero called How to Climb a Ladder Without Steps, combining spoken word, action, music, and video. I'm very enthusiastic about getting as much theater as possible online, so I'm always happy when we see someone So I'm doing something more than just promoting classical music, which I love, but there are all sorts of performing arts we want to promote. So I'm happy about this. This will be at 6 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, but usually there's about a half an hour of talk before they actually start the music, and usually it's in Spanish. So if you get to it by 6:30 Central European time, you'll be fine. That'll be noon on the East Coast and 9 in the morning on the West Coast. Now, what is this? What is this all about? Well, you see there in the photograph, you see that in the lower left-hand corner, that's Cesar Camarero. He's the composer. And he composed this piece based on a text by Virginia Noguera, which was inspired by a story by Stanley J. Reeve about a man who becomes fascinated with an unknown woman. And he starts taking photographs of her and videos, and this evolves into a whole story, which questions the perception of reality and its representation, and how often does that happen in relationships. Anyway, the whole thing is put together by a group called Taller Sonoro, which you can translate that as the Sound Lab, and they're in the picture on the lower right-hand side of that. Now, to do this, they brought in the actress. She's referred to as Fruit Do there in English because that's what the translation gives. But her real name is Rocio de Frutos, and Manolo Caro. Those are the two actors in this piece. And Taller Sonoro has been doing this kind of stuff for 24 years. But they got into these this what they call the melodrama format about 7 or 8 years ago. They've premiered more than 300 works, recorded 6 CDs, and given more than 250 concerts. Whatever they're doing, and whatever you may end up thinking of it, if they've been doing it for 24 years, it's got to be of value to some people, or they wouldn't still be around doing it. So I commend this to you as something more than just classical music. Now, we followed this up. It's interesting because this is, Cesar Camarero is a contemporary composer, and the next live stream I want to tell you about also involves a contemporary composer. I didn't really realize that. But well, I realized it, but I didn't realize the coincidence between the two of them on the same day. Wednesday, April 30th, Philadelphia Chamber Music Society live streams top young musicians from Marlboro playing Haydn, Mozart, and a new composition for piano and soprano by former Marlboro composer in residence, Helmut Lachenmann. That'll be at 7:30 in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time, 4:30 on the West Coast, 1:30 at night in Europe, and 10:30 in the morning, Thursday morning, down under Australia. In the photo, there is Lucy Fitzgibbon, the soprano, and Sahun Sam Hong on the piano, and they will be the ones performing Lachenmann's piece called Got Lost. He's a German composer, and they brought him to Marlboro Music at Marlboro in 2023 as their composer in residence, and he worked with the musicians at Music from Marlboro and created Got Lost, which we are told is a piece for soprano and piano that challenges the physical and mental expectations of the performers. So, okay. There are several there. Also, there's a violin, a viola, and a cello. They will play a Haydn string quartet and Mozart string quartet in D major as well, Kerschel 575. So you get a mix of very contemporary, challenging music and very classical. That's going well so far, I think, don't you? Let's move on to the next one of the live streams that we have to tell you about. It's this very charming duo, and this will be one of the St. Mary's Perivale quality live streams. Thursday, May 1st, St. Mary's Perivale treats us to cello sonatas by Grieg and Shostakovich, played by the accomplished cellist composer Nicola Tait Baxter, with veteran pianist Colin Stone from the Royal Academy of Music at the piano. That'll be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, European time, 9 in the morning on the East Coast, 6 in the morning on the West Coast. It's Grieg's cello sonata in A minor, opus 36, and then Shostakovich's cello sonata in D minor, opus 40. Nicola Tait Baxter was once a real prodigy. She studied at the Royal Academy of Music. When she was only 24 years old, she was already broadcasting on the radio and part of the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields Chamber Orchestra. Spent some time in the Fitzwilliam String Quartet. Then I think she moved up to Scotland or something like that and focused more on composing. She has composed a piece called Five Fantasy Pieces for solo cello. Usually she performs with the pianist Mina Miletic, but this spring she hasn't been able to do that, so Colin Stone has stepped in. This is not the first time since the beginning of the year that she's performing these two cello concertos. She's done them a couple of times at other concert venues along with Colin Stone. And he's a long-time, well-known pianist, you heard on BBC Radio, Wigmore Hall, that kind of stuff. And he's a prof at the Royal Academy of Music. So this should be a quality performance, as usual, from St. Mary's Perivale. Then we are back almost, I think the same day. Yes, later in the same day. But then we're back to early music again. So after all these contemporary composers, now we get back to early music again. So it's just quite an interesting week. Early music lovers, Thursday, May 1st, Midtown Concerts live streams Twilight in Paris. It's music of the viol and harpsichord from the twilight years of the Ancien Regime and the viol in France during the reign of Louis XV. This is after the death of the great Sun King Louis XIV, which is a great flourishing period, and then everything was falling apart in various ways. And a lot of the music moved from the court into private salons in town. This is at 1:15 in the afternoon Eastern Daylight Time, 10:15 in the morning on the West Coast, 7:15 in the evening in Europe. This was put together by Arnie Tanimoto. And I think that's who you see in the photograph there. Yeah, although he's accompanied by Nicolas Kleinman on the bass viol and Kerry Hyman on the harpsichord. Tanimoto plays the partition de viol and the bass viol. But what we're told is in this period, the bass viol was given away to the partition de viol. And they'll be doing music, which is described as, well, music by Jean-Marie Leclerc, whom early music people may know, and then the reimagined works of Marin Marais, found in the Villeneuve manuscript. I'm not sure what that means, but if you're a real early music specialist, you might know what it means. Arnie teaches at Princeton University and also at the Mountainside Baroque Summer Academy and the Viola da Gamba Society Conclave. So he's a real dyed-in-the-wool and a former gold medalist and first ever American winner of the International Bach Abel competition. So he's a top viol player. And once again, the Gotham early music scene is giving you free of charge, you early music lovers, some early music that I don't think you want to miss. So then we'll keep moving along to more and more. And there's so much going on this week. There's something like 14 or 15 live streams to tell you about. Some of them I can tell you about more briefly because they don't tell us what they're going to be playing. And that's the case in this next one. Friday, May 2nd, St. David's Music Series live streams its Ensemble-in-Residence, the Borisevich Duo on the piano and violin. That's Nikita Borisevich on the violin and Margarita Lukashkina on the piano. That's 7:30 in the evening Eastern Daylight Time on Friday. The other times adjusted, as I'm sure you must be familiar with by now. This is a duo it's a multiple award-winning duo. They've performed at places like the Kennedy Center, the Grand Hall of the Moscow Conservatory, the Manuel de Falla Auditorium in Granada, Spain, places like that. And but we're not told what they're going to be playing, but generally St. David's Music Series is a pretty good music series and it's free of charge. So you have nothing to lose by tuning in if you don't like it. If you do tune in and you like it, they suggest a $10 to $20 donation. But if I were you, tune in and see if you like it first. And if you do, well, then, you'll want to help out, I'm sure, if you can. So much going on this week. And now, okay. March Vivo, these people in Madrid, they just, they're the ones that I mentioned to you earlier about that theatrical musical thing. Well, they're back on Saturday and Sunday at noon, both days, and they won't give up on this Barbershop Redefined things. And ordinarily, I wouldn't be telling you about Barbershop, but March Vivo is really quality people, and they have a very intellectual approach too. So it's very hard for me to just ignore them because they're doing a subject that surprises me. So let me introduce this properly. Saturday, May 3rd, March Vivo live streams more Barbershop Redefined as the Metropolitan Union Barbershop Quartet explores similarities between the Baroque choral tradition and modern hits from jazz, pop, and Disney musicals. Okay. I don't know if I believe it, but they believe it. And the people at March Vivo know a heck of a lot more about music than I do. Apparently there are similarities in the kind of the harmonics and the contrapuntalism and the Baroque choral singing and barbershop singing, and that's what they explore. And Metropolitan Union, I think they're from Catalan, and yeah, they're 4 Catalan singers with a classical singing background. But you can see by the picture they just have a heck of a good time, and they were the national champion barbershop quartet in Spain in 2023. So I don't know what to say. To me, it's funny, but they'll be singing songs by people like Louis Prima, Simon and Garfunkel, The Jungle Book, Disney, Hercules by Disney, Lennon and McCartney, but also Johann Sebastian Bach's Fugue in D minor, BWV 565. So It's, it's mostly not Barbershop. I mean, it's mostly not Bach, but they put in enough Bach at the end so you can judge for yourself. Wait, did what we just hear have anything to do with what we would have heard if it were all Baroque choral music? March Vivo. What can I say? They just don't give up. And they do, several. There's one more concert that we're going to need to tell you about too. And I don't know if it's what comes next. Is it what comes next? Let me check my notes. No, it isn't what comes next. What comes next is these two people. And they don't have a real picture of them. This Composer's Concordance. This is Michael Hall and Kathleen Supové. This Saturday, May 3rd, Composer's Concordance continues its outpouring of contemporary music live streams with Michael Hall and Kathleen Supové playing world premieres by Douglas Knahans, Gene Pritzker, Kathleen Supové herself, and other contemporary composers. That'll be at 7 in the evening Eastern Daylight Time there in New York City, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 1 in the morning on the East Coast, and 10 in the morning Sunday morning down under in Australia. If you want to get up to contemporary music, there's a whole list of other authors, but we don't know exactly what they're playing by the other authors. The description is all selected works. Kathleen Supové she's a pianist who specializes in modern classical music. And she has a series called the Exploding Piano Series, where she combines piano recitals with electronics, both live and pre-recorded, with robotics, with what's called the music device and virtual reality. And Michael Hall on the viola he's a soloist and teacher, and composers love him because he's had over 90 compositions written for him, and he's taught all over the place. So another exciting, if you like music, I don't call this new music, I call this now music. If you like now music that's happening now, Composer's Concordance. Okay. All right. But but now the next live stream I'm going to tell you about, we're right back to early music again. So there's so much going on, folks. There's just so much. And this last one, I don't know that I have a separate photo for them. I think I only have the combined photo for March Vivo. So I'll put that up for you so you can at least see some of them. I'm going to be talking to you about Ars Percutendi. How about early music dance? Sunday, May 4th. Let me start that again because I'll have to clip it out. How about early music dance? Sunday, May 4th, March Vivo live streams the young Barcelona group Ars Percutendi, exploring the rhythms of early music dance on castanets, period percussion, harpsichord, and Baroque guitar. That's their usual noon time. On Saturday and Sunday, March Vivo is noon in Europe, so 6 in the morning on the East Coast. If you're staying up late the night before on the West Coast, it's 3 a.m. or 9 in the evening down under in Australia. They're going to be playing several pieces. They're playing castanets and historical percussion instruments, harpsichord, guitar, several pieces by Gaspar Sans, who's very clearly in the Baroque period, late 17th, early 18th century. And then there'll be a sonata by Albanese, Bach's Italian Concerto, a Scarlatti Sonata in F minor, quite a mix, and then some more modern pieces by Yusuf Sharonik and Scott Robinson. So quite a mix, and it's all about the rhythms of early dance music. Moving right along. I think this is the last of the free of charge live streams that we have for you this week, which I've managed to bring to you all within about 20 minutes time, and I'm happy. And then I have 3 or 4 I want to tack on. I'll try to do them very quickly for you. They're paid, but they may be worth your while. But this next one, Sunday, May 4th, St. Mary's, Perivale, live streams the Continuing Chamber Choir, singing in the merry month of May with music by Bird, Tompkins, Sanford, and others. That'll be at 4 o'clock, their usual Sunday time, 4 o'clock European time, 10 in the morning on the East Coast, 7 in the morning on the West Coast. It's 2 sopranos, an alto, a tenor, and 2 basses. And the Continuum Choir is a chamber choir that the conductor, Harry Guthrie, formed 7-8 years ago, 2018, to really specialize on choral singing from the Renaissance to the current day. They'll be singing pieces by William Byrd, Thomas Tompkins, Roxana Panufnik, a Kyrie after Byrd, so that's more contemporary, Hubert Perry, and they will finish up with William Byrd's This Sweet and Merry Month of May. So it is sort of a welcome in the month of May concert. And many of the singers in it, all of the singers in the chamber choir will not be at this concert, but a lot of them are drawn from the choirs of Trinity and St. John's Colleges and Cambridge University. So, and they also commission lots of works by other composers. So, interesting group to hear for. If you have a hankering after choral music, this is it. And I think I was wrong that we have another live stream to show you, but I don't know that I have a photograph for them. There, what I know is just that for a second my image disappeared from the screen, which was not too cool, Restream. I need to find, do I have a final image for this group? Is that Harmonia we're talking about? No, I don't have a final image for this next group, so I will just tell you about it. Community concerts at Second will be, wait a second. Yeah, okay. Sunday, May 4th, community concerts at Second live streams the National Orchestra Institute playing contemporary works by Takuma Ito and Jesse Montgomery, but also classics by Prokofiev and Beethoven. Well, why not play everything? This is free of charge, Sunday, 3:30 in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time. They're playing a new piece by Takuma Ito, but we don't have the name for it, but they tell us it's a world premiere and it's on commission. They'll be playing Voodoo Dolls by Jesse Montgomery. The Prokofiev is a quintet for oboe, clarinet, violin, viola, and double bass in G minor, Opus 39. They say it's circus influence, sounds like fun. And then they'll finish with Beethoven String Quartet number 11 in F minor, Opus 95, the Serioso. They don't tell us who the musicians are, but they assure us it's an all-star collection of musicians from top orchestras and touring ensembles. Now, folks, those are all of the live streams that we have for you this week, which are free of charge. So if you don't want to be spending any money, you can log off right now, because the rest of what we have will come at a cost. Okay, and the next one up is an example of that. You know, a really high quality concert, but it comes at a somewhat steep price. So I'm not sure what to tell you, but except just to present it to you. And if it's worth the money to you, then you will do it. Friday, May 2nd, the Finnish string quartet Meta 4 makes a rare U.S. appearance playing love music by Janicek, Beamish, and Schumann, live streamed by 92NY at a cost of $31 per person. That's at 7:30 in the evening, Friday night, New York time. Metaphor is a really top group. And what they've done is they'll be doing a string quartet by Janacek called Intimate Letters, which was inspired by love letters between him and the young woman he was in love with. They'll be doing a piece by Sally Beamish, the British composer, called Nine Fragments, string quartet number 4. And but these were based on the next piece they're going to do, which was Schumann's string quartet in A minor, Opus 41, which was about being in love with his wife while she was away touring Europe as a superstar pianist, and he was sitting at home as a not superstar composer. Anyway, that's 92 NY and $31 to enjoy it. Then Saturday, May 3rd, Dumbarton Concerts live streams a top quality double bill of string octets by Ionesco, Shostakovich, and Mendelssohn, played by the esteemed Borromeo String Quartet and the rising stars of the Verona Quartet. I mean, these are both top quartets. They're doing Ionesco's Octet for Strings in C major, Opus 7, Shostakovich's 2 pieces for string octet, Opus 11, a prelude and scherzo, and Mendelssohn's string octet in E-flat major, Opus 20. How often do you get to hear, octets, let alone 3 of them? And the Borromeo is a long-standing, renowned string quartet, and Verona Quartet, they haven't been around as long, but they have very quickly made their way into the scene. So it'll be a great one. It will cost you $14 to see the live stream. We give you the link to buy the ticket. I think I have one more photo that I can show you. Yeah. That's the, now we get into the Harmonia people. Saturday, May 3rd, the Harmonia Orchestra and Chorus in Seattle take on Mendelssohn's very pagan Walpurgis Night, about pagan druids defeating the Christian invaders, as well as Schumann's cello concerto. Well, they say the cello concerto is the core of the performance, but for me, the interesting part is that Walpurgis Night by Mendelssohn. This will be at 7:30 in the evening, Pacific Daylight Time, 10:30 at night on the East Coast, Saturday night, ridiculous hour in Europe, but 1:30 in the afternoon down under in Australia, Sunday afternoon. The total concert is Bellini's Overture to Norma, Schumann's Cello Concerto in A minor, Opus 129, and Mendelssohn's Die erste Walpurgisnacht, the first Walpurgisnacht, Opus 60. Walpurgis Nacht is April 30th, so they're doing this a few days after it. And that's the story of a band of pagan druids who get attacked by Christians, and they beat them. So enjoy. That will cost you $25. And finally, the last of the paid ones is the Musicians of the Old Post Road. They're featuring a very interesting guy, Dennis James, on the glass harmonica, which is an invention of Ben Franklin. I've never heard it. So they're doing pieces by Mozart, Johann Friedrich Reichardt, Johann Gottlieb Naumann, John Antes, and John Christopher Mahler with the glass harmonica, but also I think with flute, viola, and cello when and as needed. And that's what we have for you this week. I'm sorry this went so long as this 30 minutes, but it was actually the extra, the paid live streams, which I had to tack on at the end because I wanted you to know about them. But we favor the ones free of charge. Anyway, I hope that any of these live streams inspire you, uplift you, and or just show you a heck of a good time. I'm thinking of the Barbershop Quartet when I say that word good time. But anyway, before I leave you, let me remind you once again, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to Access Arts Live and click the notification button. And if you're watching us on any of our other platforms, please follow us and or subscribe to those platforms, which are X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. And that's it for this week. If you go to any of our platforms, you'll find that I've given you a roundup of the orchestral and big stage productions, a roundup of the organ recitals, and now a roundup of all the chamber works. If you follow us or hit notification buttons, you will get follow-up clips that we put out for the best of these upcoming live streams as they're going on during the week, so you have reminders of them. So show up or blow up. Thanks for tuning in, and that's all on our part for now.